I regret to inform the masses that that is it for Spy X Family Part 1. It just felt like a very anticlimactic end to the first part. Now, granted, I don't really expect them to do something bombastic because it's a part, so it's not necessarily a season's end, so I don't really necessarily see them trying to wrap it up at a point that has a big explosion happening, but I don't know, it just felt it just felt like, oh yeah, that's right, it's going to be until October before we get any more of Spy X Family, but it's like, okay, that didn't really feel very satisfying for an ending point for us to have to wait on, but again, it's in the middle of the story, it's understandable, but yeah, looking forward to more of it, as always. It's just unfortunate that we have to wait for an entire season before we see any more of it, but still a solid episode overall. I think we'd probably call this Operation Gossip Girls. We have the neighborhood gossip girls that are all thinking that Lloyd is doing something inappropriate off the side, cheating on his family, and so he has to recuperate that. But it is technically playing off into Lloyd overworking himself, which I think is kind of unfortunate. He's doing this operation. It seems like they have no other spies. Like, they have a shortage of spies, so Lloyd has to handle everything. I guess that's to the credit of, and they didn't really specifically say it, but there is technically a lot of their people getting caught, so there's a huge crackdown by the secret police, and Lloyd seems to be the only person able to do the jobs, even though, like, back during the whole thing with Anya in the castle, there was a whole bunch of guys there. Suddenly, they've lost all those guys, and only Lloyd can handle everything. I will have to say, though, we did get a confirmation that Yor is, in fact, still working. We have this whole segment where it's, I don't know, and this is the other troubling thing about this being the end of the first part, is that they spent way too much time this episode recapping us on what we already know. Like, this almost felt like a segment of it was a recap, explaining to us what Lloyd is doing, Operation Styx, explaining what Yor is, explaining what Anya is, and it's like, okay, yeah, we know all this. I mean, we don't need a recap. We don't need to waste our finale on recapping that information. But still, in that segment, we have Yor smell her hand and go, I can't get this blood smell out from last night. So I'm like, okay, so apparently Yor's still working. We don't get to see it, but apparently Yor is still working. But yes, in order to help his image as a father, Lloyd decides to take everybody to the aquarium, even though he's stupid tired. Like how, as he's going there, they end up running to this old lady that apparently has been working for a long time as an informant. And she's like, I hope there's one day that we won't have a need for people like me. But yeah, she's like, I have a mission for you. He's like, no, I'm doing something very important for Operation Styx. And it's like, no, you need to take this information. No, I'm not doing it. Coffee and juice, please. Just coffee and juice. But yeah, this leads him to the aquarium. He has to get away because one of the penguins is choking. Anya, this is a surprisingly new information. Anya apparently could read the minds of animals. It seems like it's more difficult for her, but she can read their minds and understand what they're saying. And so yeah, one's coughing up a lung, so she's like, oh, that one over there is choking on something, which leads to him to going in there. Which is funny because it's one of those kind of side effects to his disguise. Like, he goes in there and disguises himself as the new recruit, and he knows everything because he's good at remembering things. That's what makes him good as a spy. So he knows all the names of the penguins, and it leads to pretty much afterwards when he leaves and the actual guy comes in there, he's like, I can't train you anything else, and the lady's over there like super blushing, like, yeah, this guy knows everything, I don't need to train him anymore. And yeah, as Lloyd is trying to get the thing out of the penguin's throat, this guy shows up acting like he's a board member or something like that, quickly realizes it's a fake ID, guy runs off, and Anya hears it. Like, he's got all these different directions, and Anya overhears the whole situation, so she grabs hold of the guy and starts yelling for Mama that she's being kidnapped. So Yor shows up and just drop kicks him. Possibly killed him. She may have killed him. But it kind of wraps up with a cute scene with Yor and Anya and the neighbors, and they're like, oh yeah, for sure, this guy's totally cheating on you guys. And Lloyd shows up with this big penguin and says that he tried a whole bunch of times to get it, but he finally got it for Anya. And then they have a little conversation that they're like, look, you are a good person. You do seem like you're actually a good father. And oh yeah, by the way, you're also kind of handsome up close. But it was this point where Lloyd is having that continued conflict. Like, everything is for this mission. But no, it's actually for the sake of preventing the children from crying ever again. Again, going into that whole conflict between his job and what his actual goal is. But despite me saying that this had kind of an anticlimactic end, I did find the whole scene with Anya playing like this mob boss or something really, really cute. They have the penguin and the other one, and they're just kind of talking, and she's got to show the new guy around the place, and eventually it leads to the parents' room, and which is technically Lloyd's room, but she was calling it the parents' room. And yeah, he's super mad that she was going that direction, and she starts crying, and so she somehow manages to weasel them into playing pretend with her. Again, this is that one aspect of trying to remember that Anya's very young. She's got a childlike mind. So yeah, she's playing make-believe, and this is all kind of something that's playing into her head. But leading to basically Yor and Lloyd having to go around with a robot and a penguin around the city and just being completely embarrassed that they're having to act this whole thing out. It was super cute. I really like that whole scene. It definitely brings it away from the fantasticalness of the spy and the assassin, and just really brings it down to a wholesome family moment between the three of them. But that's pretty much it. I'm not going to drag this out. There's not really too much to talk about here. Just having fun, remembering some really good moments in this episode. But yeah, as I stated earlier, we do have, unfortunately, I think the last statement they have given is that this will be continuing in October. So unless there's any sort of delays, we will get the remaining 13 episodes in October. So look forward to that. It will be continued with Studio and Cloverworks working side by side on the project. So unfortunate wait, but I hope until then you'll all stick around, subscribe to the channel, and stick with me as we go through the summer season. I'll be doing reviews of all the spring season shows as well, so you can get all those videos. I do top lists, first impressions, news bits, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here again, so I hope that you guys will join me for that until October comes around. But I thank you guys for checking this videos out week by week as I release them. It's been a lot of fun, and I've loved the support from you guys in covering the show. But as always, if you guys like this video, hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the episode, and if you're gonna be crying alongside me until October comes around. Additionally, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down there where you can support us directly. Your support means a lot to us, and y'all take care.